right, good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? Come on, this is a good day for Cleveland. Good morning. How's everybody doing today? I first want to acknowledge all of these great leaders that are here today. Especially, I want to start off by acknowledging my governing partner, Mayor Justin Bibb. Let's give him a round of applause if we could. I know we have a lot of industry leaders. We have representatives from all of the football teams. We have neighborhood representatives. And we also have a lot of contractors here, MBE, FBE, and Cleveland small business contractors that are here today. Today's Community Benefits Ordinance has been a long time in the making. I'm grateful for my colleagues, the administration, and leaders outside of City Hall that helped make this happen. And I'm proud to have with me, that's joined with me today, my colleague Kevin Conwell, who is right here next to me, my right-hand guy, as well as Jasmine Santana, who is here, who was the co-sponsor of this. Let's give Councilwoman Santana a round of applause. She was a rock star throughout all of this, and I'm just proud to be her colleague because she's really growing in leaps and bounds in this city and her leadership. The people of this city want to see a return on their investment when we give taxpayer assistance in the city of Cleveland. That could be TIFs, that could be tax abatements, that could be land swaps, other things. But they want to see jobs, 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 jobs. They want to see community investments like infrastructure improvements, home repair, and more to strengthen our neighborhoods. Even though downtown is a neighborhood, we want to have a ripple effect throughout the city of Cleveland whenever we make these kind of investments. We've heard from contractors, MBE, FBE, and contractors of color and women for years that they've been frustrated that they have not been able to be a part of the market. We've listened, and now we are taking action. This CBO, along with construction reform, a scorecard, $10 million in workforce investments, you'll hear from Michelle Rose today, to grow our workforce, $5 million in minority business assistance, that we will give assistance to minority business through bonding and other type of things. And also, working closely with the administration, we are investing in business improvements in the city of Cleveland to make it easier to do business in Cleveland. As the mayor often says, Cleveland is open for business. So we want to make real progress in this CBO. The Community Benefits Ordinance will address wealth disparities. It will create meaningful opportunities for Clevelanders and people of color, and yes, women. Cuyahoga County has experienced more than $1.1 billion in contract spending between 2014 and 2018, with less than 5% of $1.1 billion of those contracts going to people of color. That has to change, ladies and gentlemen. This renewed community benefits agreement commitment ensures building developers seeking the city's financial support will provide real, tangible benefits for residents, emphasizing job training and placement. The Community Benefits Ordinance will create predictability, measurability, and flexibility for developers wanting to do business with the city of Cleveland. The previous Community Benefits Agreement, MOU, championed by the previous mayor, Frank G. Jackson, inspired our council to do more. The renewed codified Community Benefits Ordinance will include upfront goals, proactive goals for the community input before developers stick a shovel in the ground. We will clearly define the benefits outlined before building developers receive city financial support, and all parties will know what will be expected of them. The Community Benefits Ordinance aims to provide more neighborhood resources, expand opportunities, and increase job demand for Clevelanders. Council is working with the administration to ensure more Clevelanders will earn a family-sustaining wage and grow the middle class here in Cleveland. Building developers will have requirements and a menu of options for the community, including providing education, job training for residents, also providing joint ventures, mentoring opportunities, and new partnerships. We want to make sure that some of these men and women that you see behind us have an opportunity to participate on some of these legacy initiatives that you see going up all throughout the city of Cleveland. For our city to succeed, we have to make sure that our people have access to economic opportunities. Those who live here and pay taxes must also have access and to see the benefits of the city's investments. They need to see a return on their investment of taxpayer dollars. This is a huge first step. We have more work to do, and in working closely with the mayor, we're going to make sure that we put an MOU in place that we will guide the work, because we don't want to just pass an ordinance and then tell everybody go figure it out. We want to put the guardrails in place in order to make sure that we have the outcomes that we like to see. I see a couple of other people that have joined me that I want to acknowledge. I call him my little brother, and my good friend Richard Starr, who is here with us today. And then I'm going to ask if Mr. Coleman could join us as well from Coleman Spawn. And he likes to sit in the background, but he needs to be up here for this moment too, because he helped feed this idea. And ladies and gentlemen, we got to do this in partnership. This is a legislative action, but we cannot be successful without the support. And I want to thank Mayor and all of his directors and chiefs that were a part of this. They were really active in helping us do this, because in order for us to implement this, we're going to need the mayor and his team to work closely with us. So it's my privilege and honor to bring up the 58th mayor of the city of Cleveland, Mayor Justin Beal.
Thank you so much. I think we owe the council president another round of applause for his leadership in getting this important legislation done. We can't do it alone here at City Hall, and having a great governing partner and a great council to work with on this critical piece of legislation certainly is a milestone for the great city of Cleveland, Ohio. And one of my heroes in politics is the late, great Maynard Jackson, the first black mayor of Atlanta. And for folks that don't know, Maynard Jackson came up with what's called the Atlanta Way. The Atlanta Way helped create a whole new generation of black millionaires in Atlanta when Atlanta was seeing its first great renaissance in the 1970s and the 1980s. Now you see Atlanta being called the capital of the South. Well, I believe this legislation and this commitment by the city of Cleveland will allow Cleveland to be the capital of the Midwest in terms of seeing new minority developers and residents get their fair share. And as we build our economic recovery coming out of the pandemic, we must ensure that minority developers and residents get a piece of the pie, but also help own the pie as these projects come online. And so my administration is excited about the work ahead. We have a lot more work to do. I remember last year, the council president and I met with many leaders in the private sector about the importance of doing a couple things. Number one, giving developers and investors predictability. Because in the past, it was a free-for-all in terms of how you had good community benefits agreements with the city of Cleveland. So that predictability is going to go a long way. Secondly, how do we make it easier to do business with our city hall? And I believe this agreement, this ordinance, allows us to have a good framework and a good playbook to make it easier to do business with City Hall, but also reduce transaction cost, right? We can't see the pace of development, the pace of economic growth if it's hard to do business with City Hall. And so we have to do our part as partners here in government with the MOU to make it easy to do business as these projects come online. So we're excited about the work ahead. And I think the coalition on this platform shows you that this is an all of Cleveland approach to make sure that every resident and every business owner can win with this agreement. So congratulations to the council president, congratulations city council. A lot more work to do. Let's keep pushing, let's get to work. Congratulations everybody, we appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Mayor. We've been fortunate to be joined by a couple more of my colleagues. I want to acknowledge the chair of the Development Planning and Sustainability Committee, who was also a key proponent of this, and a co-sponsor, Anthony Hairston, if he could raise his hand. Anthony Hairston. And then I also want to make sure that I acknowledge Rebecca Maurer. I heard that she was here somewhere. There she is in the back. I want to acknowledge my good friend and close partner, Kevin Bishop, if he could raise his hand, Kevin Bishop. And then I want to acknowledge my other good friend and partner, Jenny Spencer, who was the leader and really led the charge around tax abatement, Jenny Spencer.
Oh, Chris Harris.
Oh, it's Chris Harsh? Oh, there he is. All right, we got one more. We have Chris Harsh, the councilman for Ward 13. Want to acknowledge Chris Harsh, councilman for Ward 13. And Danny Kelly just got here, our newest member of council. Where's Danny Kelly? Danny Kelly, our newest member of council. Danny is a strong union man, and Danny is a person that's really going to bring a lot to this conversation. It's my privilege and honor because I had an opportunity to really engage the minority contractors and women contractors through this process. This happened through more than 100 people meeting originally at Tri-C and continuing to work through this process. And one of those people is a very good friend of mine and brings a lot to this, and she is a person who I'm going to bring up next to give comments. Her name is Arian Kirkpatrick, and Arian is the head of AKA and also representing NAMAC. Arian Kirkpatrick.
I sure am. Mayor Bibbs just said something that's really exciting for me because I'm all in. As soon as my man right here became the mayor of this wonderful city, I sold my house in Solon in 3 days, and I moved right downtown on 9th Street. We moved our business on 55th and St. Clair because I believe in the vision and the dream of the city of Cleveland.
That's right.
Good,
Yes.
good, right.
And my brother, Blaine Griffin, man, we've been doing this for a long time. So this is so exciting because like I said, we've been doing it a long time, and there's so many historical documents. And to me, this feels really big because there's this document called the Declaration of Independence, the founding document of the United States. And then Emancipation Proclamation that supposedly, freed the slaves, but, we know a few years later that they weren't all free, and still not free. The Bill of Rights, which guarantees civil rights and liberties to individuals like freedom of speech, press, and religion. The Pledge of Allegiance proclaims one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And that's why I'm so excited, because with this document, this historical document today, this groundbreaking legislation that Cleveland City Council President Blaine Griffin and his fellow council members introduced and successfully passed with lots of work, lots of questions, the Community Benefits Ordinance, a legally enforceable agreement between the city of Cleveland and developers. We had it before, and we hoped and wished that folks would just do the right thing. But we realized that in this day and age, that we still need to make things legally enforceable. I was overwhelmed with joy to be present for this historic legislation with my colleagues, Dominic, Shaq. Yeah, is Dominic here? Oh. Dominic, Shaq, Lonnie Coleman. I don't want to miss any other, Sandra Madison. The Community Benefit Agreement right here recognizes that a change has got to come. The Community Benefit Agreement right here no longer allows our dreams to be deferred. The Community Benefit Agreement right here wakes up sleeping souls, revigorates non-believers, and births new beginnings. Blaine, you had the audacity to change hope into reality and reality into action. You recognize that we as a people need to be self-evident that there are many layers to the data that are presented to us that aren't actually true. When a community becomes healthy, they become wealthy. Yeah. And when they become wealthy, they become the creators of financial ecosystems that benefit the entire community. The council met with stakeholders and had robust exchange of ideas, beliefs around how to best serve minority communities via enterprise, workforce, and thriving communities. Many times as people, we were not sitting at the table when decisions and policies are created that affected our livelihood. My shero, Angela Davis, always said you have to be at the table when people are talking about you because you don't know what kind of recipe they're going to put in the pot. Amen. Our voices have now been amplified, and we are able to produce a change that will benefit all Clevelanders, Black, white, Hispanic. We know the work is not over, and the work now begins to create a memorandum of understanding that brings several groups and entities together. This process should introduce solutions that are designed to address broader disparities in our community. That's important. When we see that only 4.62% of contracts are given to minorities and women on page 2, and then on page 200, and we see it's broken down even further, and less than 1% of those contracts are given to minorities. That means we need to unfold all of the layers and see the real deal.
Yes.
We come here collectively as developers, architects, engineers, and constructors. Let me repeat that from the beginning to the end. Developers, architects, engineers, and constructors. To be a part of not just a new day, but to be the authors of a new way. We are helping to write the foreword to a bestseller, defining the chapters of our destiny, bringing the characters in that book alive. Chapter 1, we're going to change the narrative that says there's no folks out here that can do it. There are. Chapter 2, it's going to try and be a love story where we're going to collaborate with all developers of all races, of all creeds, so that we can grow this city for the benefit of all the community. It's true that we have pockets of success in our community, but then what really is a pocket? It's a group, area, or mass of something that is separate and different from what surrounds it. A pocket is nothing but loose change. It's time to give the loose change and make big money for all that live in this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Dr. Arian Kirkpatrick. Next up, we have the corporate community, and we cannot do this without making sure that we have corporate support. And I want to say that the Greater Cleveland Partnership really worked closely with us. We had a lot of conversations that were sincere and honest. And I want to commend Baiju Shaw, who is our next speaker, for really sticking with this and really working with us to really get the outcomes that we wanted. I'll bring him up now, Baiju Shaw from the Greater Cleveland Partnership.
Thank you, Council President, Mayor, guests. It's hard to follow the Reverend Dr. Arian Kirkpatrick. In addition to being an inspiring speaker, she's also an inspiring businesswoman, one of our board members, and has been instrumental in a number of the types of projects that the Council President and the Mayor were referring to, whether it's the new headquarters for Sherwin-Williams or the Guardians renovation at Progressive Field. A great businesswoman to watch. Now, as the Council President said, the Greater Cleveland Partnership is the business leadership group and the Chamber of Commerce for the region. We represent not only the large project owners, like those sports teams and the corporate titans like Sherwin-Williams, but also board members like Arian Kirkpatrick and Lonnie Coleman and Shaq Davis and many others. And it's really that convening of all types of businesses that put us in the midst of this important and historic legislation that's been introduced and passed by council and signed by the mayor. When our business community heard about this opportunity that was being championed by the council president and the mayor, they saw an opportunity to really use this moment of transformation, where we're not just talking about transformation in terms of building buildings, but transformation in terms of building a community, building businesses, building careers because of the development that was going on through Cleveland. And they wanted to be a part of it, as they have been a part of it through the decades, whether it's the signing of the original MOU 10 years ago, where Greater Cleveland Partnership was a member, all the way back to the founding of the Greater Cleveland Roundtable, which is a part of our group as well. So we are very excited to see this legislation passed, but as the council president and the mayor has said, it doesn't stop there. It's just the beginning. And we are focused on working with the city and other stakeholders to make sure that we can see the impact that's desired by this important legislation through the development of implementation plans to ensure that businesses can be built and scaled, similar to what Arian has been able to do with her business, but also that individuals can find pathways into careers that lead to higher quality of life right here in the city of Cleveland. So we look forward to working with the city and other stakeholders on that implementation plan in the MOU. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you, Baiju. One of the things that council did in working with the administration is we invested $10 million of ARPA funding, American Rescue Plan Act dollars, into workforce. And the person that's going to talk to us, because it's going to be a robust way to build up the workforce, is working on that is Michelle Rose, and I'm going to bring her up to have a couple of comments. Michelle Rose.
Good afternoon. I'm Michelle Rose. I'm the Executive Director of the Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Workforce Development Board, serving both job seekers and employers in the city of Cleveland and Cuyahoga County. I appreciate being included today because I strongly believe in the need to be intentional about the wages, opportunities, and quality of jobs created. We all feel in our daily lives that employers are eager to hire workers across sectors, and what I am interested in is what that implies about the worker experience and about the training programs that we should start and scale. I always like to say that I am not a job creator, I am a job filler. And so in thinking about how to operationalize this new CBO, I am grateful that Mayor Bibb and City Council had the foresight and wisdom months ago to allocate $10 million in ARPA funding for built environment workforce development. Built environment is designed to grow the pipeline, dramatically grow the pipeline of prepared workers. We, over the next 4 years, are going to serve at least 3,000 Cleveland residents through 13 core execution partners to engage, support, train, and place workers with employers at the projects that we are pursuing within this community benefits framework. So thank you again for including me. I'm excited about what's ahead for Cleveland's workers. Good jobs supported by their city government. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rose. On the heels of one of the most successful developments in the neighborhood, we're proud to bring up the president of the Hispanic Business Association, and I want to give them kudos because they just now got the final piece of the puzzle, thanks to my colleague, Councilwoman Jasmine Santana, for Central Villa, Janice Contreras.
Gracias. Buenos días. It is with great joy that I stand up here with my colleagues and friends. It's been a long journey to get us here today, but definitely excited to celebrate the ordinance of our new community benefits agreement. We've been at this for decades, right? This didn't happen overnight. And so really exciting to advocate and now get into work with this new ordinance for greater inclusion and opportunities for small, diverse firms here in our city, for neighborhood residents to be able to work on projects right in their own backyards and earn respectable wages to support their families. There is no doubt that our city is booming with development and construction, but this boom must penetrate all neighborhoods and all families, especially those that have been historically not benefiting from economic growth. I am grateful to Council President Griffin, Councilwoman Santana, all of City Council, Mayor Bibb and his administration for the leadership and the thoughtfulness in this ordinance. It doesn't happen overnight, as I said. It's taken many months of community listening sessions and stakeholder meetings, many of them filled with frustration. Because of the lack of inclusion in projects historically. This ordinance was thoughtful, intentional, and it's firm in holding all responsible for economic impact and development in our great city. In a few weeks, we will be celebrating the groundbreaking of Centro Villa 25 in the Clark Fulton neighborhood. Thank you. That saw me grow up, so Jasmine, Councilwoman Santana grow up right in our own backyard in a neighborhood that we get to still work for. A $12 million investment in this neighborhood. And so the secret sauce or the recipe about Centro Villa 25 is that we own it and we are developing the change that we need in our neighborhood, right? And so for the first time, the Latino community will get to celebrate our culture, have a destination place in the city, at the same time that we're elevating businesses and neighborhood residents in this project. We need a Centro Villa project in every neighborhood, where the leadership in the neighborhood and the residents of the neighborhood are developing their own solutions and are having the economic benefit of building our neighborhoods. With this project, of course, inclusion is at the forefront on making sure that our neighbors, our Latino contractors are able to say, we built that, we did that, we've built our city, our neighborhood, one building at a time. And so the floor is the minimum. That's not the goal here, is to really maximize every project, to have every level of inclusion in it. This ordinance is only the beginning. We need to help support City Council, the city administration, the developers, the contractor community to really implement. The implementation is really the tricky part, right? To make sure that we take this tool and leverage our opportunity. A mi comunidad latina le digo que hoy se celebra la ordenanza del beneficio comunitario en construcción en nuestra gran ciudad. Tenemos una gran oportunidad de ser parte de este cambio en nuestra gran ciudad. Muchas gracias.
Gracias de nada. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The last person that we have that's going to speak, and then we'll take any questions from the media, is we can't do this without labor. And I want to say that my good friend came to the table. He had some things that he wanted to see regarding how we can build up the workforce and labor, and he became a very good partner and supporter throughout this entire process. And in this CBO, we have some triggers that trigger PLAs and other things on some of the bigger projects. And I want to bring up at this time the head of the Cleveland Building and Construction Trades, Dave Wondolowski.
Good morning. On behalf of the Cleveland Building and Construction Trades Council and our 12,000 members, I want to thank Council President Blaine Griffin and his colleagues for developing a robust community benefits agreement that will provide a better return for the citizens' public investment projects. Finally, Cleveland has a mechanism by which the community has a seat at the table, one that assures business will be conducted in an inclusive and participatory manner, and one that provides defined and tangible benefits to small businesses, minority and women businesses, and residents. While there have been efforts to historically ensure that financial incentives benefited not just corporations and developers, but also the broader community, the efforts were handshake agreements that lacked teeth. The new law, as structured, offers accountability, but also reasonable terms that shouldn't dissuade any reasonable business or developer from conducting business here. It's an excellent solution to contributing positive change in a region where too many people live in poverty. In tandem with the new law, and thanks to our Mayor Bibb, Cleveland is setting aside the $10 million, as you heard, from the ARPA money to get more minorities trained in construction jobs. That means large-scale worker training programs, bolstering trainee and worker support systems and mentorships, developing minority prime contractors and subcontractors, and improving outreach and marketing to help build a pipeline of young talent. I applaud city leaders for moving on these proposals at a time when we are in the midst of a construction boom, but recognize also we're also in the midst of a skilled trade shortage. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, nearly 8 million skilled labor jobs were lost from the labor force during the pandemic. About half have been filled as of last year, but that means there were about 4 million vacancies remaining in industries responsible for most transportation, construction, mechanical needs, and mechanical needs nationwide. And I can tell you that many of those vacancies are here in Ohio. Cleveland Building Construction Trades Council is the umbrella organization for more than 29 member unions in Northeast Ohio. Our member unions hold job fairs year-round, hoping to attract Clevelanders into their ranks, into good-paying jobs and good benefits while people are in training, and even better wages when they have completed their apprenticeships. These are lucrative lifetime careers that can sustain families and easily elevate workers into the middle class, if not even higher. The community benefit law and ARPA dollars combined will elevate both the city and our residents. These policies will help all of us collectively do better. Thank you.
Before we take questions from the media, I always have to thank the staff. The staff of Cleveland City Council really worked hard with the administration And I want to make sure that I acknowledge Jessica Columbia. I don't think she's here, but we do have Jen O'Leary. If Jen O'Leary could raise her hand. She was the author of the legislation. And then an emerging leader who you're going to hear a lot about, a young lady who really put her heart and soul into this, Brooke Saban. I want to give Brooke a round of applause if we could too, okay? All right, we're going to take any questions from the media. I do want to say that we do have a lot of other industry leaders here. We have my good friend from Cleveland Clinic who got together with me and Vicki Johnson about 5 years ago and put together an excellent model with the Cleveland Clinic that is yielding the benefits that we want to see in Cleveland. Pat Rios is here, as well as others. So once again, this is Cleveland, everybody. This is Cleveland. We'll take any questions from the media if anybody has any questions. Yep.
Thank you. At the end of the day, every chief or director serves at the pleasure of the mayor. I decided I want to go in a different direction for the department as we restructure the department to continue the hard work of inclusive economic growth, making sure we have the right processes and systems to be responsive to developers in our city. And I'm really excited to have Terry Hamilton Brown as my interim director, and I'm looking forward to bringing on a new permanent director over the next couple of months.
Can you explain what changes, though? You say, talk about a different direction.
Yep.
It seemed like Tessa Jackson was changing
Yep.
these types of things.
As I said before, we want to continue to restructure our economic development department to be more responsive to the business community, to make sure we can be more aggressive to attract and retain new companies, make it easier to navigate the various departments that require to do business in our city at City Hall, and I'm looking forward to finding a new permanent director to continue that hard work. Thanks.
Mayor, I had a question. What's being done right now about the crisis in EMS? We see chronic delays even in top priority emergencies, and now we have records showing the billing collection is also a mess.
Our team is looking at all of those issues, and we're going to do everything we can to continue to modernize the EMS department to have good quality basic city services for our residents.
Before you got elected, you said you were going to do a top-down review of EMS. Whatever happened to that?
Every day we're doing everything we can to deliver for the residents of Cleveland. Thank you, Ed.
What's that going to mean for the people of 911 today?
We're going to talk about the community benefits agreement, sir. Yeah, Kim.
You never give us a chance to talk to you. So I'm
Hey, Kim.
asking questions about
Kim.
911
Yeah.
Wasn't all together on this CBO earlier. Can you tell us what was the deciding factor to get GCP on board along with the contractors, along with the city and the council? What was the thing that changed, or what did you massage so that you could be here all today?
Well, I'll chime in, and I want the council president to chime in on this question too. Last year, the council president and I had a meeting at GCP convened by Beju Shaw with many of the developers and large companies in Cleveland to really talk about how do we address this issue long term, because historically we've negotiated these CBAs in one-off agreements, and that was not effective. And as the council president can attest, the legislative process is messy, right? Democracy is messy. But collectively, all of us here on this stage recognize the importance of having a comprehensive approach to have good, inclusive economic development in Cleveland, to make sure minority developers and residents get their fair share. We're all aligned on that, and that's why we're here today to celebrate this historic agreement. Council President, you want to
And Kim, I would tell you that the data doesn't lie. The data says that less than 5% of these opportunities were going to people of color. And if the data shows that in a city that is 50 or more, when you look at our Latino brothers and sisters, it gets to about 62%. That's unacceptable. We got to have more diversity, equity, and inclusion in order to make sure that the people of this city, because these are taxpayer dollars, and whenever we give incentives, it's supposed to be towards job creation. It's supposed to be towards community building. So we saw this as an opportunity to also provide predictability, because a lot of developers say, well, what do we need to do? Because every agreement is different. Well, we wanted to give flexibility, but we also wanted to say, here is your guideline. Last but not least, I would tell you that I've seen it work. Once again, approximately 5 years ago, the Cleveland Clinic, our largest employer in the city of Cleveland, was about to embark upon a major construction initiative, and they came and they met with me. And when they came and met with me with Vicki Johnson, and we sat down and talked with Pat Rios and Dr. Tommy Mihalovich, they actually put forth a plan that everybody in the nation should be following, that is actually yielding results. So I've actually seen tangible results when you actually are intentional and put policies in place and implement the policies in order to make sure that we have measurable change.
Does intentional mean clawbacks? Does it mean penalties?
We have a whole menu of penalties, and it could be everything from clawbacks to a percentage of clawbacks to dealing with not doing business with the city anymore. All of those different things. But most importantly, you know, people want to get the confidence of us. If they want our support, I can always remember my colleague Jenny Spencer when we were at the table talking about the Guardians deal. And she said, I want to see your community benefits. And where's your community benefits agreement? So we kept hearing that, and that's where it was important in order to make sure that we're proactive and not reactive when we're talking about community benefits. Yes, Gabe.
Norman Edwards from the Black Contractors Group penned a letter a couple days ago critical of the Fire and Justice Jackson while recognizing that she was an advocate for the CBO. Were either of you able to read that letter, come across that, give a reaction to that letter?
I would tell you I read it, and let me say this, Norm is a good friend of mine, and Norm and I have talked. Norm supports this CBO. He is here to be able to work with us. Unfortunately, I don't think he was able to be here today. He did call me. Once again, I will stick to the CBO because that's where my lane is and my expertise is at. And I will tell you that Norman Edwards is just as ecstatic as all the people you see here on the steps of City Hall today, that we're making this major step forward. Now we just need to implement.
You like that, sir? The letter wonders if that firing.
Listen, my administration wholeheartedly supports the CBA. At the end of the day, as mayor, every chief director serves at my pleasure, and we have a lot more work to do to make sure we have good inclusive growth, and our department is going to continue to share that vision long term. One more question?
Mayor, back on EMS, what's being done tonight? What's being done right now for the person who calls 911
Courtney,
today
callback.
on EMS?
When we're talking about the CBO, that what Kim brought up, the clawback, that speaks to the city collecting on loans when the developer hasn't done what we promised. Mayor, do you commit to collecting on those loans, the future ones or past ones, when the city is owed that money back?
I'll let the mayor answer, but I do want to say this, Courtney. One of the things that we did, that we were dealing with the developers, and we have representatives here from the Downtown Cleveland Alliance, is that we didn't want to be so prescriptive that we were just going to make only clawbacks the only penalty that we had in place. So now we have a list of penalties, thanks to Jen and the research that she did, that gives us a list of penalties that they can negotiate. Once they negotiate and they agree to that, the one thing that I could tell all of the developers and everybody else, just do what you say you're going to do. Follow through on your commitments. We're going to be helpful every way that we can. But once you make that effort and once you do that, we expect for you to follow through on what you say you're going to do.
Yeah. And under leadership of Chief Epstein and the entire development cluster, we want to be rigorous to make sure that folks abide by what they said they were going to do based on the law. And if they don't, then we'll make sure we pursue every action to hold them accountable. Okay?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end this press conference. Feel free to talk to all of the people that you see here today. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cleveland. This is a proud day for Cleveland. We're going to celebrate this, but at the same time, we're going to roll up our sleeves and continue to make sure that the residents of this city see a return on their investment. Thank you all for coming today. Have a great day.